Are you financially behind despite a good income? Do you feel like you can't really get ahead because something is holding you back? Inflation, the economy, the bad job market? Then you might have fallen into the trap of a few very common money beliefs that led to that situation. Because hint, it's not inflation, it's not the economy, and it's also not the bad job market. Now let's discuss 5 of them. If we haven't met, I'm Sophia, a doctor from Germany, and on this channel we talk about all things building wealth efficiently. And the money beliefs I'm about to share with you also held me back for a long time. So let's start right in. The first money belief holding you back is I still have time. And this is the biggest trap people fall into because when we're young, we think there's always tomorrow, right? But the problem with this is that compound interest does not wait for anyone. And let me show you a calculating example so that you can see how important time really is. Let's say someone invests $500 every month at an average of 7% per year. That's roughly what the stock market returns every year on average. And let's say this person starts at the age of 20 years old. By the age of 40, this person will have $245,000. And this person will only have contributed $120,000. So you put 120K in and you get double of it out. That's not bad, right? And that's without doing anything. Now stretch that time period a bit longer until that person is 60 years old, meaning that this money compounds for 40 years. They will have almost $1.2 million. And that's even before retirement age. And now let's look at another person who invests the same $500 every month at the same average return of 7% per year. But this person, instead of at 20 years old, starts at 30 years old. That's still young, right? Now by the age of 40, this person will have $82,000. Now $82,000 versus the $245,000 from the person who started 10 years earlier. That's already quite a difference, right? Now stretch that until this person is 60 years old, meaning that the money compounds over 30 years. This person will end up with $566,000. That is half of what the person got who started 10 years earlier. Isn't that crazy? And I see people underestimate this all the time, myself included when I was in my 20s. So if you take just one thing away from this video, please let it be that time is the biggest lever you have, but only when you start early enough. And you know what they say, the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. Now money belief number 2 is I start investing when I earn more. And that was one of the beliefs that held me back for a very long time. Because if I'm honest with you, money came into my bank account ever since I went off to university. And still it took me several years to actually get started. The main belief that held me back was I don't earn a real salary yet. And this belief has probably cost me tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, since then. And one of the reasons was also that I underestimated how much small amounts can matter. And it doesn't even matter where the money is coming from, even if it's just a small side job like I had in university. And there's something else. In fact, I just listened to a conversation of 2 young men, and one of them was just starting to work at the age of 21. And the other one was a bit older, and he was already telling him that with this income, he can easily afford an apartment like this big. And I immediately thought to myself, oh no, don't do that. At that young of an age, it's such a huge advantage to earn this well already. But the thing is, he's not used to the lifestyle yet. He was just moving out of his parents' house, and no one is expecting that kid to live in a huge apartment, right? Or own anything of substance yet. It would be such an advantage to just live like pretty much anyone else at that age. For example, if he would compare himself to the ones who go to college, then he would spend so little because they don't have any money to spend. And then to put all this money towards building wealth instead could maybe even make him a millionaire by the age of 40. Now that does depend on the income he actually makes and also the cost that he does have to cover. But you know what I mean, right? It's so easy and so natural to think, oh, now I'm making money, now I can spend more and more and more. But that's exactly what gets us into the trap in the first place. So if you're just starting out or you're already well into the journey, just put as much towards your wealth as you can. And then you can still invest more when the time comes, especially if you want to be really rich. But don't miss out on those early years. Because the older we get, the more comfort we would like to have. And then we'll be grateful to our younger selves if we already prepared for that. One method that I use to motivate myself to put more and more money towards my wealth is to calculate my net worth. I use an Excel sheet for that has a little graph at the end of it, and there I can see my wealth grow as a visual, and that itself has become so motivating for me to watch that curve go up that it's really rewarding. If you want to use my net worth tracker too, you'll find a link down below. Now, the next money belief that may hold you back is money will always keep coming in. And this is a tricky one because especially when you're employed, we're so used to getting our paycheck regularly and it feels like this will never stop. But it will. In retirement. And especially in the US, there are so many people who have to keep working after their retirement age because otherwise they wouldn't be able to cover their costs. Or this could also happen at a layoff. Now, a few weeks back, I talked to a family friend who's already retired, and he was self-employed during his working years. So he had chosen to put only very little into his actual retirement funds. But what he was doing, he invested for himself privately. And he told me if he hadn't done this, if he hadn't invested for himself, he would not be able to live the life that he's living now. And he's actually traveling a lot with his wife. The next belief that is holding people back from efficiently building wealth is I don't earn enough money yet. And here's the problem. If you believe that, you never will. And here's why. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And these lines are not from me, actually. They're from Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, one of the personal finance classics. And this one's actually from his book Cash Flow Quadrant. And you know that I actually thought that too. But when I actually started researching, I found out that you can start investing with as little as 50 euros. That's how I started. I started with 50 euros per month. And nowadays it's even less. You can get started with as little as $1. Isn't that amazing? Now that is one thing. And the other thing is, and we already touched a little bit on that, your lifestyle will always adjust to your income. So if you make more, you spend more. You make more, you spend more. And most of the time, people don't even realize. This is lifestyle inflation at its finest. And if you are really curious, go ahead right now and check how high your income was 2 years ago or 5 years ago. And I bet it was less than you're making right now. And where did it go? Exactly. And then the fifth money belief that can lead to not building wealth as efficient as you could, I know because I fell exactly into that trap, is my bank or financial advisor has my best interest at heart. And I learned the hard way that they do not. Because the first investment that I ever made by myself was an investment product that my local bank had offered me. I mean, I had some ideas of the terms back then already, and it sounded good, it sounded reasonable. So I signed. But a few years later, I dug deeper and actually read the fine print. And when I found out what this investment had cost me, I was shocked. That's when I learned and also felt how banks and financial advisors are not just there to build your wealth, they're also there to build their wealth. And that was a very expensive lesson for me. So their interest and our interest is never going to be fully aligned because they have to make money too. And the tricky thing is most of the time how they make their money is through hidden costs. If you want to hear more about what happened there exactly, you can watch this video next. It's where I tell the full story. I hope you got some food for thought, wishing you success, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.